Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today I have a very special video for you, a complete question and answer compilation for your literature book for class 10. We'll be covering all 6 chapters with every single objective type question and short question answered in detail. This is going to be your ultimate study guide, so make sure to watch till the end and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's begin with chapter 1, bed number 29. First, we have the objective type questions. Question 1. Naeem was in the hospital when the author regained his eyesight. True or false? The answer is false. Naeem had actually left the hospital by then. Question 2. Who did the author meet in the hospital ward? The answer is Naeem. Question 3. The author regained his eyesight after blank. The answer is third operation. It took 3 surgeries for the author to regain his vision. Question 4. The author was a blank before he lost his eyesight. The answer is painter. Before losing his sight, the author was a painter by profession. Question 5. The author knew that Naeem was also blind. True or false? The answer is false. The author didn't know about Naeem's blindness. Question 6. Naeem urged the author to restart blank. The answer is painting. Naeem encouraged the author to start painting again despite his blindness. Now let's move to the short questions from chapter 1. Question 1. How did the author lose his eyesight? The author was hit by a car and lost his eyesight in this accident. Question 2. What did the author do before he lost his eyesight? He was a painter by profession. Question 3. When did the author regain his confidence and how? The author regained his confidence when Naeem praised his paintings. This encouragement from Naeem was crucial in helping him believe in himself again. Question 4. What happened when the author's second operation failed? Who consoled him then? The author got very upset when his second operation failed. Naeem was there to console and comfort him during this difficult time. Question 5. How did the author get the money to get operated the third time? Who helped him? He got the money by selling his paintings. It was Naeem who helped him by buying his paintings, enabling him to afford the third operation. Question 6. Where was Naeem when the author regained his eyesight? Naeem had already left the hospital by the time the author regained his eyesight. Question 7. Why could Naeem not get his treatment done? Because he had spent all his money in buying the paintings of the author. He sacrificed his own treatment to help the author. Question 8. How could Naeem describe different seasons in detail? Naeem was a painter and he had painted 4 seasons. This is how he knew the season so well despite being blind. This chapter teaches us about friendship, sacrifice, and the power of encouragement. Moving on to chapter 2, half a rupee worth. Let's look at the objective type questions first. Question 1. Subaya was a rice merchant. True or false? The answer is true. Subaya indeed was a rice merchant. Question 2. Subaya had blank children. The answer is 5. He had 5 children. Question 3. Where did Subaya's wife take the man? The answer is to the godown. She took him to the storage area. Question 4. Subaya died in a road accident. True or false? The answer is false. He didn't die in a road accident. Question 5. Subaya's profit blanked during the war. The answer is increased. His profits went up during wartime. Question 6. Subaya was buried under the bags and died. True or false? The answer is true. This is how he met his tragic end. Now for the short questions from chapter 2. Question 1. How did Subaya manage to get rice during the drought? He would collect the maximum amount of rice from the countryside. This shows his business acumen. Question 2. What is the meaning of the statement? Rice was in his blood. This means Subaya knew all about rice. He was an expert in his field. Rice was his life and livelihood. Question 3. How did Subaya's profits increase during the war? Did he follow the rules laid down by the government? How did he tackle the officers? Subaya sold his rice at a very high rate during the war. He followed the rules in papers only, meaning he was corrupt in his practices. This shows the darker side of business during difficult times. Question 4. Besides selling rice, what else did Subaya do to earn more? He lent money. This was another source of income for him. Question 5. Who came to buy rice one evening when Subaya was about to go home? Did he give rice to him? What did he say? A person came to buy rice. Subaya refused to sell him rice, saying he had some other business to attend to. Question 6. How much rice did Subaya agree to sell the man and for how much? He agreed to sell half a seer of rice for half a rupee. This was an unusual transaction at an odd hour. Question 7. Where did Subaya go to get the rice? He went to his godown, the storage place where he kept his rice stock. Question 8. Did the man wait for Subaya for long? Yes, he waited. The man was patient while Subaya went to get the rice. Question 9. How did Subaya die? Rice bags fell on him. This was a tragic end for someone whose life revolved around rice. The very thing that made him wealthy became the cause of his death. This story is a powerful reminder about the consequences of greed and the irony of life. Let's move to chapter 3. $1,000. Starting with the objective type questions. Question 1. Robert lost the money on races. True or false? The answer is false. He didn't lose the money on races. Question 2. To whom did Bobby Gillian give his $1,000? The answer is Miss Hayden. He gave all the money to her. Question 3. Robert Gillian offered a blank to Miss Lotta Laurier. The answer is pendant. He planned to give her a diamond pendant. Question 4. Robert Gillian received $1 million from his uncle's will. True or false? The answer is false. He didn't receive $1 million. Question 5. The blind man was selling blank on the walkside? The answer is pencils. He was selling pencils on the street. Question 6. Who was Miss Lotta Laurier? The answer is an actress. She was an actress by profession. Now for the short questions from chapter 3. Question 1. Who gave $1,000 to Robert Gillian? Who did the money belong to? Why was it given to him? Tollman gave him the money. The money belonged to Gillian's uncle. He was asked to spend it and give details of how he used it. This was a test of his character. Question 2. What was the condition laid down by the lawyer? He had to spend the money and give details of how he spent every dollar. This condition was set by his uncle to test his judgment. Question 3. Which suggestion did Gillian accept? What did he do then? He accepted the suggestion to give a diamond pendant to Miss Lotta. He then booked a cab to go buy it. Question 4. Who did Gillian talk to next? Why? He talked to a blind man next. He asked the blind man what he would do if he had $1,000, seeking perspective on the value of money. Continuing with chapter 3's remaining questions. Question 5. What did Gillian write in his note? He wrote, paid $1,000 to the best and the dearest woman on earth. This was about Miss Hayden. Question 6. Why did Gillian go to the lawyers again? To give details of how he spent the money, as was required by the condition of the will. Question 7. What had Gillian's uncle written in the postscript of his will? Robert would get more $5,000 if he had spent the $1,000 wisely. Otherwise, the money would go to Miss Hayden. This was the real test. Question 8. Why did Gillian not get the rest of the money? Was he sorry for his action? Because he told a lie. He said he gave the money to Miss Hayden as a gift when he actually spent it differently. Interestingly, he was not sorry for his action. He chose love over money. This story explores themes of money, love, and the choices we make in life. Moving to chapter 4. The Dying Detective by Sherlock Holmes. Let's start with the objective type questions. Question 1. What was Watson by profession? The answer is doctor. Dr. Watson was a medical doctor. Question 2. Holmes got the illness from some blank. The answer is Chinese sailors. This was the supposed source of his illness. Question 3. Smith sent Holmes an infected sharp spring in blank. The answer is an ivory box. This was the delivery method for the weapon. Question 4. Victor Smith killed Culverton Smith. True or false? The answer is false. It was actually the other way around. Question 5. Holmes did not want Watson to touch his things. True or false? The answer is true. This was part of his elaborate plan. Question 6. Who was charged with the murder of his nephew? The answer is Culverton Smith. He was charged with murdering his own nephew, Victor Smith. Now for the short questions from Chapter 4. Question 1. Who was Mrs. Hudson? Why did she go to Watson's house? Mrs. Hudson was Sherlock Holmes' landlady. She went to Watson's house to tell him that his friend Sherlock was critically ill and needed help. Question 2. Why did Holmes not let Watson examine him? Because Watson was a doctor. If Watson examined him, he would have discovered that Holmes was faking his illness. This was crucial to Holmes' trap. Question 3. What did Holmes ask Watson to tell Mr. Smith? Holmes asked Watson to tell Mr. Smith that Holmes was critically ill and near death, and that he should come to his house immediately. This was the bait for the trap. Question 4. Why did Watson not come back with Smith? Because Holmes had asked him to do so. Holmes needed Watson out of the way to execute his plan to catch Smith. Continuing with Chapter 4's remaining questions. Question 5. Who was Victor Smith? What had happened to him and how? Victor Smith was Culverton Smith's nephew. Culverton Smith killed him using the same method, an infected sharp spring in an ivory box. This established Smith as a murderer. Question 6. Why did Holmes ask Smith to turn up the gas? It was a signal for Inspector Morton. This was Holmes' way of alerting the police that the trap was sprung and Smith had confessed. Question 7. Who arrested Smith? What were the charges against him? Inspector Morton arrested him. The charges were the murder of Victor Smith and the attempted murder of Sherlock Holmes. Question 8. Should Holmes have spoken so rudely to Watson? Why? While it seems harsh, it was a dramatic necessity. Holmes needed to keep Watson in the dark about his plan to make everything seem authentic. Sometimes great detective work requires sacrifice. This story showcases Sherlock Holmes' brilliance and the lengths he would go to catch a criminal. Now let's explore Chapter 5. How much land does a man need? Starting with the objective type questions. Question 1. The two women discussing about village and town life were blank. The answer is sisters. The two women were sisters. Question 2. The Bashkirs had plenty of blank. The answer is land. They had an abundance of land. Question 2. 3. How much land did Pacom manage to buy from a estate owner? The answer is 40 acres. He managed to purchase 40 acres of land. Question 4. Pacom was dead in the end. True or false? The answer is true. Pacom died at the end of the story. Question 5. Pacom was a very blank man. The answer is greedy. Greed was his defining characteristic. Question 6. Pacom borrowed some money from his brother-in-law. True or false? The answer is true. He did borrow money to buy more land. Now for the short questions from Chapter 5. Question 1. What did the two women discuss? Were they related to each other? They discussed city and village life, comparing the merits of both. They were sisters. Question 2. What did one woman say in defense of rural life? What was the counter argument? One woman said rural life was better. The other countered that city life was better. This debate set the stage for Pacom's story. Question 3. When the devil heard Pacom's musings, what did he decide? The devil decided to give Pacom enough land, playing on his greed. This was the beginning of Pacom's downfall. Question 4. How did Pacom manage to put together the money for buying the land? Pacom sold his colt and half of his bees. He took his son's wages and borrowed some money. He was desperate to acquire more land. Question 5. Who were the Bashkirs? How did Pacom make friends with them? They were landlords with vast territories. Pacom gave them many gifts to win their favor and gain access to their land deal. Question 6. On what condition did the chief agree to sell the land to Pacom? Go, walk around and come back to the starting point before sunset. The amount of land Pacom could claim depended on how far he could walk in a single day and return. Question 7. What is the moral of the story? Greed is a curse. In his endless pursuit of more land, Pakhom walked too far. And by trying to claim more than he could handle, he lost everything, even his life. The title asks, how much land does a man need? And the answer, revealed through Pakhom's death, is just enough to be buried in. This is one of Tolstoy's most powerful stories about the destructive nature of greed. Finally, let's cover chapter 6. Return to air, starting with the objective type questions. Question 1. The boy was called blank. The answer is sausage. This was his nickname. Question 2. The instructor threw a tin in the pond. True or false? The answer is false. The instructor didn't throw a tin in the pond. Question 3. Sausage put his stamp collection in the tin box. True or false? The answer is false. He didn't put his stamp collection in it. Question 4. Sausage brought a blank from under the water. The answer is tin box. He retrieved a tin box from underwater. Question 5. Duck diving means diving into the water in the manner of a blank. The answer is duck. Duck diving mimics the diving motion of a duck. Question 6. Where did sausage reach while diving? The answer is at the bottom of the pond. He managed to dive all the way to the bottom. Now for the short questions from chapter 6. Question 1. Why was the boy called sausage? Because he was very fat. His classmates gave him this nickname due to his appearance. Question 2. Why did the boy not like diving? Because his eyesight was weak. Poor vision made diving challenging and uncomfortable for him. Question 3. What is duck diving? How is it taught? Duck diving means diving into water like a duck and bringing the brick back. It's a swimming technique where you dive headfirst and surface quickly, similar to how ducks dive for food. Question 4. Why couldn't sausage see inside the water? Because his eyesight was weak. His vision problems made it difficult to see underwater. Question 5. Why did the water change colors? How did it change colors? Because of the intensity of the sunlight. As light penetrated the water at different depths, it created different colors and visual effects. Question 6. Where did sausage reach while swimming? He reached to the other end of the pond. Despite his challenges, he was a good swimmer. Question 7. What did sausage do with the tin box? He took it to his home. He put his coin collection in it. The tin box he found underwater became a treasured container for his coin collection. This story is about overcoming limitations and finding value in unexpected places. And that brings us to the end of our complete literature book Q&A compilation. We've covered all 6 chapters. Bed number 29, A Story of Friendship and Sacrifice, half a rupee worth. A Tale of Greed and Its Consequences, $1,000. Exploring Love, Money and Moral Choices. The Dying Detective, showcasing Sherlock Holmes' brilliant detective work. How Much Land Does a Man Need? Tolstoy's powerful lesson on greed. Return to Air, a story about overcoming limitations. Remember, understanding these stories isn't just about memorizing answers. It's about grasping the deeper themes and messages each author wanted to convey. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more educational content. Drop a comment below if you have any questions or want me to cover more chapters. Don't forget to share this with your classmates and friends who might need this study guide. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep studying and keep learning.